Welcome everyone. Welcome to this session with Karuna Ahuja. We are talking about the neuro-linguistic programming, which is an approach to communication, personal development, and psychotherapy. So whether you're looking to create a better future in the job you're in, or uh, trying out, or pivoting in trying to start something new, NLP offers a framework to kickstart change and restart that journey for you. Karuna, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, and thank you for an opportunity to talk to all of you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this workshop. As you know, the topic is to build courage and resolve for restarting your career. And thank you, Jobs, for for giving me the opportunity to talk to all of you, to the amazing ladies that we see here. What I'll do is I'll share my presentation, and then we could move ahead with the discussion. Okay, we do have a certain chat option. Would you be able to, maybe Shruti or Sharnita, if you're on the call, could you just help me with the chat options that we could, let everybody know about? Because I would like to make this session as interactive as possible. Shruti?
Yes, Karuna, what we'll do is we'll take it. I mean, you put your questions on the chat and they can take it from there.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. So, welcome to all of you. A little about myself. You can see here. I have been a global HR leader with multiple organizations. I've done some leadership coaching. I advise people on career, and I mentor women. There have been certain certifications I've taken into spiritual practices, NLP, as well as I'm a certified facilitator as well. With that little bit of background, the intention was to basically help you connect better with me. We move ahead into our next presentation. So here are some facts that I would like to talk to all of you about. According to a study conducted by World Bank, there are 20 million Indian women who quit jobs between 2004 to 2012. Around 70% of women who quit actually never returned back to work at all. Now, with India poised to being a $10 trillion economy by 2030, I do not think we can afford to have women away from work. Therefore, this cause of having women back to work is not just a personal cause, but it is also a business and social cause. So women out there who are listening to me, do not feel alone in this journey. Know that there are a lot of such women who do intend to come back, and with that energy and enthusiasm, we can put a great program for all of you together to feel excited to be back to workforce. And a lot of organizations are actually looking to come back, looking at restarters to come back to work. Women, but this is also another fact that women do want to spend quality time with families, and they do not intend to compromise on that aspect as well. Hence, we do need to create a program which helps them customize their needs and then be able to take care of their personal interests as well as be back to work. Therefore, we do see that as an urgent need to address this. And that is where the organizations like Jobs for Her are doing a great job in that. Now, let's look at the fact that even though there is an urgent need, there are women who are leaving the workforce and not returning to work. Even if I want to, let's say, return back to work, many a times we feel that we are not confident enough to pick up opportunities. Sometimes we feel redundant. There are times when we feel we are not networked enough to know where are these opportunities available. And trust me, all of these limiting beliefs that we are talking, all these issues or lack of confidence that you're feeling are all a fact, and they do exist for all of us. And it's not just you, but there are thousands of women outside who are facing that kind of a problem. And here we are to talk a bit about how do these limiting beliefs impact us. Many a times we do hesitate to connect with our ex-colleagues. Many a times we don't even know what are we wanting to do. So there are a lot of limiting beliefs that impact us. And why do we have all these beliefs? Let's understand that. These beliefs are created by our mind. And if we talk a little bit about our mind, there are two types of, in a basic high level fashion, if I have to break our mind into different categories, we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind basically holds the 90% of the way we operate. The kind of memory that we attach to certain events and situations, that is stored in the subconscious mind. The emotions and the feelings that we have of the current situation, based on our experiences, we create certain kind of beliefs around them, that this is how it would happen. So let's take an example. Let's say you might have faced a certain discrimination on a certain topic at work in the past. Now you might have attached a certain emotion of anger to it. Now when you would see something like that happening again in the current environment, there would be a similar emotion that would get exhibited, and you would act according to that. So that is how our mind creates a lot of belief systems that we have, which gets stored like a memory in our subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind basically has a lot of emotions attached. We also do have a conscious mind, which holds the power of analysis, thinking, imagination, and reason. Though it has only 10% it holds 10% of our mind, and it is only operating when we are conscious and active and awake. Even though subconscious mind operates when we are even sleeping, we do have the opportunity and power through our imagination and reasoning to create a different belief system and break the negative belief systems that we might be holding on to. Now, there could be belief systems like, I feel hesitant to move ahead because I don't know what to do. Now, we can use our conscious mind to remove that limiting belief that we do not know what to do. We could create certain action plans consciously and work towards them. So there is a good amount of work that we can do at a conscious level to break our limiting belief systems. So by a lot of very senior, motivational speakers, as well as by one of the quotes that I've quoted here by Brian Tracy, it says, there are no limits you can achieve with your life, except the limits you accept in your mind. Hence, what I would like to say is that whatever limits we have created in our minds basically is our own self-limiting beliefs. Actually, there are no limits to anything.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Yes. Some of them are unable to hear. Please check your audio button on the laptop. It's usually the F3 button.
Yeah, this is on the full, if you can see that.
Yeah. Because Karuna is audible to me, so I'm sure it's just the system settings.
Okay. So what I would like to say here is that anything that we dwell upon for a long time, hard enough we think about that, it becomes our reality. So think about a situation where you have a certain thought about a certain event that has happened. Now, what emotion that we have attached to it? So let's take an example here, that I went out today to the market and I experienced that I did not get a vehicle to go to the market. Now, what is the emotion that I attached to that? It could be an emotion of frustration, or it could be an emotion thinking about it that, okay, fine, let me walk down. And that is where I could, focus on my health goal as well. So depending upon the kind of emotion you attach to it, you would accordingly act in that way. And that action is, if consistently that happens, it becomes a habit and it creates your reality. So therefore, coming back to the previous slide, whatever you think, you attach a certain emotion to it. Now, all of this happens so rapidly that most of the times you're not able to realize this, but we do have actually a choice of attaching a certain emotion to that, because that event and experience is going to get stored in your subconscious mind. Now, going back and tapping into a certain memory, you would be able to experience the same emotion, isn't it? Now, because you would be able to experience the same emotion from your past, it actually means that we are living that experience right now. Hence, when we attach our emotions to that and continuously work and act according to it, our reality is according to what we think. So I believe that when we work on our thoughts and we do certain inner work and we act in a certain conscious fashion, we achieve success that we are looking for. So and similarly, so if you intend to restart your career, whatever limiting beliefs that you have are actually connected to the subconscious mind and the memory you might have attached to a certain event that has happened, or an emotion that you have attached to a certain event. Now, when you understand that, you also will understand this fact that we have our powers of changing that reality for ourselves by consciously working on it. Statistics say, you can go out, go on Google and even search for some such things. Statistics say that whenever we intend to be successful in our projects or work that we want to do, 80% of is actually inner work. It is about breaking your limiting beliefs and building your self-image that impacts the success of your work. If you do that work, actually more than half your battle is won. 20% of it is outer work, which is your actions and goals that you're wanting to make. And if you work, and not that the outer work is less important, but it is also important, but it is the highest amount of work you need to do is actually the inner work. That is a very important aspect of an element to success. Now, when we talk about that, how I break that into our current experience is that when we intend to restart our careers again, we need to work on lot of inner work, inner reflections, and reduce our limiting beliefs. And then there are some action plans that we need to make together, and I'm going to help you out do that today when we go through the further slides. So be ready with a pen and paper if possible. I'll make you make some notes, do a short exercise, and that'll keep you excited and engaged. I break this entire restarting into 4 categories, which is having clarity of what you exactly want to do, building up our courage and resolution that what are areas that I need to work on, committing to our actions and goals, making action plans around it, making strategies of how to go about it, and then networking and building connections to make that happen too. So these are 4 C's that I would like to talk about. I have broken them up into inner and outer work. So inner work is majorly around clarity and building courage, and the outer work is on your action plans and connections that you build up and networking that you do. So get a pen and paper. Here is an activity that I would like you to do on breaking limiting beliefs. All of us have limiting beliefs. You might be feeling fears about how do I start my work, if I do it on my own, or I get back to a job. What are some difficulties I might have? You might have a lot of fears around it. So I want you to take a few minutes, let's say another 3 to 4 minutes, make a list of the top 10 fears or worries that you have related to your work and life right now. Whatever you're facing, you're feeling, put those fears down on a piece of paper. So take a few minutes, do that activity. Once you're done, in the chat box, mention done, and say ready to break my belief system. Think, reflect, what are top 10 fears or worries that you have related to your work and life right now? Yeah, so let's proceed ahead. What I suggest is if you could just read out the fear that has been mentioned, and then I could talk from whatever my experiences are.
You'd like me to read it out,
Yeah,
Karuna?
yeah. I guess I can't see the chat, so it will be
All
great.
right. Okay. So it's self-confidence, family life, especially kids,
Yeah,
unable to get a job, and unable to cope with family and job.
yeah. So basically, having a work-life balance, a positive work-life balance.
Yes, and I think primarily self-confidence.
Yeah, confidence to basically get that balance together as well. So what I want you to do is,
If I could just add one more thing,
yeah.
uh, my primary concern is that where I stand today, I've had
Mhm.
a 8 years of gap. So
Mhm.
where I stand today, I don't know if I have the industry knowledge, the knowledge about what's happening in the industry in today's date.
Mhm.
I'm trying my best to upskill myself, reskill myself, understand what's happening, where my lack points are, and where I can catch up.
Mhm.
But technology has changed so much
Mhm.
uh, that it surely is a concern for me. So even my concern is not getting a job. My concern is, if I get one, would I be able to prove my worth? Because in the first 2 months is where people really judge you, whether you're able to show your credibility within those 2 months or not.
Mhm.
My biggest concern is, in those first 2 months, would I be able to actually show what my real potential is? Because in today's day, I really feel I lag when it comes to technical knowledge.
Mhm. And why would you think that you would not be able to do that?
Probably because I really don't know how things operate in the business today.
Mhm.
Maybe there are new softwares, maybe there are new ways of doing things. Because when I started to, when I quit, there was a lot of change. So today, when want to come back into it 8 years later, I'm positive that there are going to be so many changes to it. Um,
Mhm.
the only way I feel I can deal with it is if I take up an internship or do a small job somewhere wherein I can really get the hang of things before I
Mhm.
get on full fledged into it.
Mhm.
So I don't know, and like the other reasons that my peers have shared here, those reasons are prevailing. So it does not give me the luxury to like walk away and do an internship and come back and see, let me look where my uh, where my loopholes are, and let me work on them, and then come back to applying for jobs with complete confidence. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, there are opportunities like that available. I think while I walk you through the other slides, your question to some extent would get answered.
Mhm.
However, I'm also happy to have a one-on-one chat separately to find a kind of an action plan for you, which is customized for you.
That
Uh,
would be wonderful.
yeah, and we could talk about that. However, right now, let's focus on going through the flow. I'm quite sure that there would be some questions that will get answered when you see the next slides.
Sure. Great.
Okay, thank
Look
you.
forward to. Thank you.
Yeah. So coming back to the fact that we do have a
Karuna,
lot of
sorry
top
to interrupt
fears.
you.
Yeah,
Karuna, we have a few more queries here. Should I just read them out so then that you can answer
sure,
them together? Yeah.
sure, sure.
Another person has written confidence, family negligence, husband's career growth hamper, not giving ample of time, conservative family beliefs. There's one that is
Mm-hmm.
really, is very poignant. It says, in life, only one that is to lose someone. After losing my child, will I get a job on my field after a gap?
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, whatever limiting fear beliefs that we might have mentioned here, the fears that we have mentioned, and the worries that we have mentioned, uh, all of them exist for us as reality. And for many of us, these are the worries that are bothering us to move ahead in life. Let me go through the exercise and help you reflect on them further. And I'm more than happy and glad to have one-on-one conversations with all of you to have a customized solution for your issues. Right now, I understand that there are certain fears that we have mentioned here. What I want you to do is reflect on these worries and understand that are these worries a truth or your perception. For example, that ask yourself this question, that is this true, or is this something that I'm assuming to be true? So think about against each and every point that you've written and try and ask this question to yourself. Is this true, or is this an assumption that I'm making? For example, somebody who's mentioned about losing a family member will obviously, that's something true, and they'd be sad about that. However, there are times when we have mentioned that there are worries like, I don't know if I'm going to get a job, but there are people who are getting jobs outside. So why would you not get it? So think about questions like that and try and reflect on it. Take a minute or two to self-reflect, because answers are going to come from within. As an external person, I can guide you and ask you relevant questions, but those perceptions you have to think about for yourself and understand, is this true for you, or are you assuming that that could be a possibility that can happen to you, which is more of a perception than an outcome that would surely happen. There are examples out there where it has happened for other people. So think about it, that is it my fear? Is it just a perception that I have? Is it just, or it could be a reality too. And that's also possible. There's no issue in that. So just reflect on each and every statement that you've made a note of and think about that. So take a few minutes and we'll talk again after that.
Yeah, so somebody's written that they tried freelancing and were unable to deliver. And they don't feel that their kids are safe in daycare or with a caretaker.
Now, what I want you to do is that every fear that you've made a note of, every worry that you've made a note of, highlight against each and every belief that what could be the possible positive outcome or a feeling against it. So, for example, you might have a worry that I have run out of finances and I am worried about how will things be for my future. So what could be a positive feeling for that? Possibly I'm feeling abundant and I have enough finances to take care of myself. Yeah, I think that's great. So what I want you to do is now think about and highlight against each belief that you've mentioned, the worries that you've mentioned, the fears that you mentioned. I want you to write down a positive feeling or a positive anecdote against it. For example, there could be a feeling like, I am worried about my finances. I'm running, very low on my finances, and I'm concerned about what is going to happen in future. Now, what could be a positive outcome to that or a positive feeling for it? Possibly, I'm feeling abundant. I have lots of money and I am, feeling safe and secure. So highlight against each worry that you have a positive feeling around it. Just do that for a few minutes and then I'll talk further about what's the next step. So coming back to the belief systems, while you've made a positive statement around your belief systems or fears, now what I want you to do is think of the people whom you admire the most. It could be any of your family members, any superstars that you know of, any friends that you look up to, or any entrepreneurs, whosoever it might be. Think of a few people whom you admire. Imagine you are in their shoes and think how they would react, behave, think in that situation that you're talking about. So let's say you might say, I am concerned about getting back to work. I have applied enough, but I'm not getting a job. yet. Even though I've tried reskilling, I still don't have a job, and I've been doing that for several months now. Think about it, that let's say you admire any of your, corporate people, entrepreneurs, or family members. Imagine what would they say, they do, and they would act like, they would think like in that situation. What would their behavior be? So imagine those people. Imagine what would be their behaviors, their thinking patterns, and their actions in that situation. So let's say if I admire Indira Nui, and I'm thinking about that I still don't have a job. I've tried it so much for so long. I have reskilled myself also. What would Indira Nui do in that situation? How would she behave, think, act in that situation? You might also think that, oh, my situation is not as a similar situation to that XYZ person. But what is important is that when we tap into the consciousness of those people who have been successful as per you, you are actually moving in the direction of removing those self-limiting beliefs. You are actually tapping into their consciousness and learning through that intelligence that universe has to give. So think of it from that aspect, that even though your life situation might not be exactly like that other person, but if that person was in your shoes, sorry, if you are in their shoes, how would the reactions be? What would be the behaviors and thought process? Now, what I want you to do is, once you've imagined that to a certain extent, and I want you to make a note of this exercise, and you can do that any time of the day, whenever you feel like breaking a certain belief system. Against each statement that you have written today, make a note of 2 or 3 counter perspectives that you would get from them. So, for example, if it was the statement, as I mentioned earlier, that I am trying to get a job, I've tried enough, I'm so concerned that I yet not have a job yet. And let's say you're in the shoes of Indira Nui, what would you think? Let's say one example possibly could be that, oh, let me try out my network. Let me talk to my family and see, are there enough finances for me to support in terms of, let's say, a management course. So think about something like that and write down 2 to 3 counter perspectives that you could think and act on. There could be an example like, I look up to my dad and I'm running out of my finances. So what would my dad as a businessman give me an advice on as an entrepreneur about how could I manage my finances better? So make a note of each and every statement and make 2-3 counter perspectives against it. I would be glad to go through all of this personally whenever you guys are ready to do that. Just for the sake of time, I would move ahead and I would want you to reflect on this exercise and make notes on this. Send me topics and comments on chats, and I'll ensure that I have everything answered for you. So moving ahead, while you make that, the idea is that you will be able to tap into a positive consciousness and it'll help you break certain belief systems for you. Now, it's not just about breaking that belief system, but also ensuring that we attach a positive emotion to it, as we mentioned earlier when we were talking about conscious and subconscious mind. So what you need to do is pick and choose certain positive affirmations for yourself and repeat them at least 9 times in a day. To make them effective, make sure that you say them with intensity, positive body language, and positive emotions. Now, why positive body language and emotions? Because our physiology impacts the way we are thinking. That's a science, and you can read about that online. We do have a choice to attach a certain emotion to the event that we are going through. So when we attach a positive emotion and we attach a positive body language and intensity to what we are saying in affirmations, you would be able to create a possibility of manifesting that you want to manifest. So look at, I've given some examples here which you can make a note of if you want to. For example, Money flows easily and effortlessly to me. I am a money magnet. I am so grateful that I've manifested the ideal job for myself. Every day I'm getting better. Failure is never final. I can transform myself. So those are some positive affirmations I mentioned. You could look at what could work for you through the exercise the last exercise you might have done. If you need help, you can always write to me and I can take you through this. It is going to help you create a extremely strong, positive mindset for yourself, which will help you have clarity and courage to be able to take things ahead in life. Also, a very strong technique that I recommend is creative visualization. Now, think of a happy moment in your life and imagine how does that it make you feel. Now, also think of a situation where you've been blessed with a manifested desired outcome that you were looking for. How does that make you feel? That is also going to make you feel excellent. Now, what do you notice in this entire exercise when you do this is that actually a brain is not capable to realize what is past and what is future. So every time we tap into our memory, we actually are living that experience. So therefore, using our creative imagination, you can create your future by acting on it through action plans. It is going to become a reality for you. And let's talk further a little about some other inner work that you could do. You could focus on meditation, which will help you calm your mind. There's a concept called as super brain yoga, which helps you sharpen your mind and increase focus. We just talked about inner reflections, positive affirmations, and creative visualization. Another important topic I would like to talk about is positive self-image. Remember that restarters in today's market are very much wanted. Think about it, that people who want to go back actually have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and organizations look for that. People will also and also there's a science behind it, through it's a psychology, that people will remember you from what they have experienced you. So in the past, whatever positive experience that they've had with you, they would remember of that, not your current state. So whenever you're feeling low, remind yourself, and it's a great confidence booster, trust me, that whatever people remember of you is actually what they have experienced in the past about you. So they do not know at this today's stage that you are low in confidence, and you need not exhibit that, because now with all these affirmations and inner reflections, you will be able to exhibit a lot of confidence. And remember that people will remember you of the past, of what you have experienced, what they have experienced of you. So they don't know what you're doing in the kitchen, or they don't understand that how you're feeling when you're managing your kid, but they will remember you of what work they had done together with you. So with that confidence, go with a very positive outlook to meet and network people. You also deserve a healthy career ambition and care for your family. So it's important that you express that you're looking for positive, curated, customized solutions to your needs that you might have. So with that positive self-image, there is certain outer work you need to start working on, and that is commit to action. Now, with that, I would want you to think of a lot of questions for yourself. For example, what is the outcome I'm looking for? Most of the time, there was a study done by, with the employers to figure out that why would they hesitate in taking restarters? One, they believe that restarters might be obsolete. Obsolete, by obsolete, I mean they believe that the skills might have become redundant. Trust me that redundant skills or obsolete situation is only a temporary fact. Yes, you might have to reskill yourself, which is okay. You can work on that, but then that can be removed. The other thing the employers are concerned about when they intend to hire restarters is the fact that they do believe that restarters actually don't know what do they exactly want. Many a times They themselves are confused about what they are exactly looking for. So before you go out and start talking to employers, ask this question to yourself: what is the outcome I am looking for? Be clear about what exactly do you want to do. Ask what you want and not what you're feeling. Remember that, and put that answer for yourself in your action plan. What are the possible actions I can take to make that desired outcome happen? So for example, you might say, oh, I believe that I need to get a new job for myself in the field of finance, let's say, for example. Now and in finance also, there are different types of aspects of finance you could handle, which could be accounts receivable, accounts, it could be accounting, it could be auditing, there could be multiple aspects. So be clear about that. What exactly are you looking for? What kind of a role? Is it part-time? Is it full-time? Put the possible actions around it that you can take. Write them down. Identify top 3 people in your circle who can help you. Make a list of those people, and then identify top 3 actions you can do every day to increase that possibility. So for example, can I write to these people on LinkedIn? Can I go out online and look for more courses for me to be able to bridge that gap? What are top 3 actions you can take on a daily basis to make that possibility happen? What are the top 3 skills I can learn to enhance the positive possibility? Put these questions down. I want you to make a note of these on a piece of paper and write answers around it, because that is going to give you extreme amount of clarity and commitment to action. Here is a small form for you that you could use. That's a sample. Let's say I have identified a goal, like a sample here, to get a full-time or a part-time job as a senior manager of finance. Now, what could be top 3 daily actions for me around it? I need to network with, let's say, at least 2 people every day through LinkedIn and share my profile. I could speak to at least 3 ex-colleagues and network with them. I could talk to 3 recruitment consultants every day. So put specific numbers around it on what are some daily actions, because you might have a kid to manage at home. You might have a family member to take care of. So based on what pace you want to take, identify those top 3 daily actions for yourself and put some times around it. There could be a goal like, I want to build my competence in new rules that have come up. The question that another lady had was about what are, I believe that I might not have enough skills, technical skills, to take care of what I need to exhibit on my job. So what is it that I can do about it? Learn online, maybe go ahead and do some paid sessions, network with professionals, and just bounce that off to other people. What is also going to be very, very helpful for you is look for a mentor who can help you stay focused in that field that you want to focus on. Identify some timelines around it and put that together. This, if you're able to put this table together for yourself and you're able to put actions around it, you will have amazing amount of success that you can put to yourself. And even a small success that you have, let's say you are able to achieve these on a daily basis, you will feel really confident in what you're working towards. So a quick snapshot on what we talked about: putting goals together, make them smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Use that concept of SMART goals you can read on Google about, and commit to achieving it.
Sorry,
You
Karuna,
can review your resume.
Sorry, Karuna, I'm just going to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
One of the women here have just put it on the chat that they would like you to go back to the previous slide. I think they were taking down.
Okay.
Just for 5
This
seconds.
This one, or further back?
Anita, is that the one? Okay, I think we'll just give this 5 seconds and then we'll
Okay. Okay.
I think
Sure.
it's great for everyone to take a picture on their phone so that you at least. And we are going
Yeah,
to
it'll be faster.
Yeah, it's faster, and I think we're going to upload it on YouTube as well and all our social media, so it is available. You can continue, Karuna. Thank you.
Okay, sure, no problems. Okay, so quick snapshot on the outer work you should be doing. Put your goals together, make them smart, You should have your LinkedIn and your resume ready. You should also you should also start working on how do you want to brand yourself personally. Craft a storyline for the break that you have, why you exited, what is the intention of re-entry. Also remember that even if you've taken a break, there have been amazing amount of experiences, learning experiences that you've had. Managing a kid or elderly or marriage, there is good amount of relationship building that you've learned from that. Managing a child has also taught you how to manage your time, how to manage other aspects of your life along with your own self. So there are so many skills that you've actually built up in that break you don't even know about. So do some inner reflection, craft a storyline around what are some learnings that you've had by managing yourself during that break, because that is going to really you're putting yourself out and saying that, look, even if I've taken a break, I don't think I'm guilty about that. I am actually proud of that because that is what was required at that moment. So use that to put a interesting storyline around it, and know that you have actually built up a lot of skills at that time period, and make a note of them. It could be organizing skills, it could be time management, actually leadership skills, how you become much more compassionate as a person, which would be helpful in managing team members in future. There is so much of research around, and you can read about that on Google, that women who are returning from back from breaks actually are much better managers and better CEOs in their own selves. So from there you could pick up some skill sets which could be good, nice way of exhibiting that actually you've grown as a person, and that also matters a lot. The other very important point where I believe that a lot of women, I have had experience of talking to numerous women, being in the HR field and now, being in the coaching and training field, they do not do a great job about networking. So work towards building the confidence and reaching out and networking with people. Again, I'll remind you that people remember of you, of the experiences that they've had about you in the past, not about that currently what you're feeling low in confidence about that. So they're actually looking at you like that smart woman who was out there doing a great job along with them as an ex-colleague. So also I would want to talk about that having a mentor at this phase of life will also be very important for you, because they are going to help you stay focused on what goals you put together, and they can guide you to certain things that you're not being able to look at right now. So all of us have certain blind spots. So when we go back to a mentor and talk to them or seek coaching, that mentor is able to help us overcome those roadblocks that we have. A very important point to focus on is reskilling yourself. We need to keep ourselves up to date with what is happening around us, whether it needs to be through taking a new course. There is an opportunity of taking a voluntary project. While you take up voluntary projects, I would suggest you to take such kind of projects which are aligned to your career goals. So for example, and by the way, it is also possible that while now you want to return back to work, your interests, career interests have also changed. Let's say you initially were in finance, but now because of your own self reflections, you realize that you are more of a people's person, and now you want to go in a different field. So there may be a need for you to actually develop certain skills in a people management role. So think of all those aspects and pick up voluntary projects which are aligned to your goals. So for example, today I enjoy doing marketing. So then if I enjoy doing marketing, and I do not have right now a full-time job, but there are a lot of opportunities of learning digital marketing or working or doing assignments, voluntary projects on digital marketing online. So can I pick up those kinds of voluntary projects and actually see that is this something which I really want, or is there something that I can learn from and add that to my resume and then go back and look for a full-time job. There have been a lot of numerous examples where women have, and you can read a lot about this on jobs for her blogs, where there are a lot of stories available like that, where women have picked up certain part-time or voluntary assignments, and now they have transitioned to a full-time job. So this may take a little bit of time, but you need to remember this, that there is an opportunity available for you, whether we start from a voluntary project and we slowly transition, or you might be lucky enough to get an immediate job as well, but you need to continue working in that direction. So voluntary projects, there are internships. Look up for Internshala. They have just recently come up with a very interesting concept of offering internships to women, which are paid, and you can actually identify what your interests are and apply to organizations. And they're running kind of a career restart fair on that. So you could look up for things like that, or there are options with startups. Be open-minded to looking at startups which could offer you internships or projects like that. Again, remember, organizations like startups would also want people with experience like you, and with the energy and enthusiasm that you would bring in, and the excitement that you bring in with the fact that you want to restart, is what organizations look for. So there is a need, but there is a huge amount of opportunities as well. What you need to work on is your inner work and make a strategy of what are the steps that you would want to follow. Just giving you examples of restart programs, and think about it. Imagine if you don't have a break, you actually can't apply to these organizations' programs. So it's actually, thinking of it, it's actually an opportunity that these companies have restart programs and you are eligible to apply for them. So these are a few organizations just to mention. There are numerous more of them. These are just a few of the logos I could get hold of. Again, just to mention the fact that, we all can do a lot of things, but it is important that what will we do about it. So action is the most important thing in this entire discussion that we are doing. So it's important to act on your inner reflections. It's important to act on your inner work. It's also important to make strategies and put action plans and outer work together. Some words of wisdom. Stop criticizing yourself. A lot of us as women, somehow we are conditioned because of our cultural situations. We end up with a lot of self-criticism. So stop doing that. I do have workshops around building confidence and self-worth. You could reach out to me and I could talk more about that. It's important to have courage and ask people for help, whether it is a difficult conversation you need to do with your family members, or when you're going out for an interview and people are questioning you about your break. Have that courage to answer them and be able to do a positive conversation with them, constructive conversation. Negotiate when you're restarting. I have workshops on how to do difficult conversations also. Negotiate when you're restarting, because many a times we end up in a desperate situation and we want to take a lot of cut, or organizations don't end up negotiating thinking that they're just coming back to work and I can offer them whatever we want to. There is a way to go about that as well, and I can help you with that. Build your portfolio. If you need help on resume building, LinkedIn profiling, and personal branding, we have a workshop or one-to-one sessions on that as well. So some words of wisdom to remember. If you're looking for more, we do offer, my organization offers certain online practices where we work with them, WhatsApp and Zoom session, who offer job search, LinkedIn profile, resume building, and branding activities. There are personal coaching, and there is a program called as Academy for Women of Excellence, which is starting in January 2019. It's an 8-week career readiness program, which includes a lot of mentors coming in and talking to you about how they have experienced certain things in life, what are some goals that you can make for yourself, also support in terms of LinkedIn, resume building, all of that, and personal time which is it, so it happens over a course of 8 weeks. So you could write to me over an email and know more about the program if you're interested. And I would like to end this with the thought that if you are able to dream it, it means that you can do it. So keep that courage on. We're there to help you out. If you have questions, make sure that I would answer to all of the queries that you might have mentioned. There may be personal situations you intend to discuss. I'm happy to have a one-to-one conversation on that also. Here is a link to how you could reach me. You could drop me a message through the mentor page on Jobs for Her. My email ID is mentioned here, and I'm also available on LinkedIn. You could add me there, and we could start from there on as well. So thank you so much. If you do have questions, we have the forum open for that. Yes, please.
Karuna, we have some questions here. Should I ask them to redirect it to you on your email?
Depending upon how much time we have, we could pick it up. And if you want me to answer them personally, I could write an email or talk to them on phone as well.
Then can I request everyone to write to Karuna? She's shared her email ID and it's on screen right now. I think that way you'd get, personalized advice as well. Karuna, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your session. It was truly
pleasure,
educative, and we reach out to you and hope to engage with you in the future again.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for participation. And trust me, Jobs for Her is doing a great job. Do go through their website and have a look at the tools that are available for all of you to reskill yourself as well as, look for job opportunities.